We are live now, I think. Becca is
Okay, hey,
check.
what's up?
Becca is checking. The lovely Mrs. Fike is checking.
Yes.
She hasn't had a shower in like 14 days. I don't know what's going on. We are live
Hey,
on
you're not
Facebook.
you're not supposed to say that.
Well, I can't lie, Chris. I got to tell the truth.
You can too. I've seen you.
All right, we are live on both. So, welcome to Myths, Monsters, and Mullets live with Chris Goins from BlackSheep Studios. Chris, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I am just peachy. So, oftentimes, whenever we get together, it's
Yes.
it's with Alan,
Yeah.
and I mean, come on, it's Alan, and we don't talk about you enough. That's just the way I feel about it.
Well, I don't talk about me anyways.
I know, and we have to like press you to
Yeah.
to promote yourself. So I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that at least I had two of your art pieces in my background tonight, so everybody
Oh,
can
that's
see what
not.
you do.
Yeah. And the tampon man and applicator boy.
That's right. Signed, signed
Yeah.
right there.
Son.
And then my personal piece right
Yep.
here. You know,
The cougar hunter himself.
that's right. That's right. That was my first art purchase.
Ooh. I feel
That,
honored.
well, you should. You should.
Yeah, I
So
know.
Chris,
I
why
know.
don't you tell everybody a little bit about Black Sheep Studios?
Well, my mother gets mad about this, but um, I call it Black Sheep Studios because my brother's a pastor, and I
Mhm.
hang out with people like y'all. So
Okay, I get it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get it.
you know, um, I hang out at comic book conventions and know all kinds of weird people, and that's cool to me. Um, but so that's why I named it Black Sheep Studios. Um, I call myself a nostalgia artist. I like to draw old Saturday morning cartoons, um, and then quiz kids on what it is. Um, I haven't done it in a while, but I used to do a contest at conventions that I went to. I would do an obscure Saturday morning cartoon character, and if they guessed it right, they won the picture as original, and it was fairly good size. And man, most people didn't care, but I would always get one. There'd be one kid, man, that would just do everything he could possibly do to win that piece, which was cool. And then he got a little bit, he got to learn a little bit about Saturday morning cartoons when I was a kid. Um, and the last one that I did, nobody ever guessed it, and I still have it. And it was
Really?
Yeah, Web Woman from the late 70s, early 80s.
So let me ask you this. Do you prefer
Yes.
the comic conventions or the paranormal slash cryptid slash whatever we normally do?
Well, I like them both. They're different. And the first cryptid convention we ever did was CryptidCon in Kentucky. And my wife used to be a reporter. She's a school teacher, so there's facts. And she did not believe in Bigfoot, but going to CryptidCon and because we lucked out that first year, man. We were sitting like right next to the Finding Bigfoot people, and I mean all kinds of interesting, knowledgeable people. And
Kind of like when you were at OBJ.
yeah, I'm sitting around all these wonderful, knowledgeable people, and watching you sell mullets hand over fist, which is insane. But so after, and so these people would go see the folks from Finding Bigfoot, and then they come by and look at my artwork. And so when I'm at a convention, um, I'm not in real life. I'm not really a big talker, but when I'm at a convention, I was taught by a lot of other artists early on that you got when you go, you got to be on. You got to, it's so my persona is the madman, and at that point, I will talk to anybody. I don't care, what you're doing. And Alan has witnessed it that I don't know if Tammy and I are at a different frequency than others, or if we were bartenders in another life. But people will spill their guts to me, and I don't even have to ask a question. Uh, so these guys started telling stories, and they had pictures. And now my wife believes that yes, it's a possibility that Bigfoot exists, and that's a big deal. But comic conventions are fun, and so are the cryptid conventions. It's just a different type of person. Sometimes they cross over, and then the horror conventions that we started doing is a completely different type as well. Um, but they're all interesting. You get to meet great people, and it's these people who, um, most of the time, not on the outside of the convention in their regular lives, they they don't talk about what they want to talk about. But then when they get in the con, man, it's on. And, you get to meet all kinds of really cool folks.
I agree. And you're right, because normally when you're at work or whatever,
Yeah.
Bigfoot and paranormal doesn't come up.
No.
Or well, it might in your case, art may come up at where you work,
Yeah.
but if a lot of times your passions, you don't really have anybody to talk to them about when you're just at work. So you get to these conventions where you got a bunch of like-minded people and you just
Yeah.
start spilling your guts. Love it.
Oh, yeah. And I that's where we met you, was
Yeah.
at OBJ that first year. And, and I remember Alan, after you and your lovely wife walked away, Alan leaned over and goes, "He real? Is that really?" I said, "No, he's doing his character." Really? So yeah. But and then we found out that you have such a comedic time. You have great timing, uh, awesome characters, and you can go with it, man. And that's what I love. You know, um,
A lot of
and
people think I'm being rude, but I'm just trying to be funny.
no, there's nothing rude about it. Comedy's comedy. And it's hard to do. So, when I listened to several after the first OBJ, and I listened to several of your bits, and I'm like, man, this is genius. That you don't write any of this down. It's just pouring out of your mouth, and it is awesome. So yeah, but you know, now I get to hang out with y'all, which is completely, you and Matthew and James and Ethan and all these guys, um, and and it keeps adding, the Crypts of Corn, Chumma with the Spirits, Paranormal Podcast, and it keeps getting bigger. I told Alan one time it feels like we're building the Avengers, you know,
I think
and
it's more like the A team, and I'm face.
okay, sure, yeah,
I mean, it fits.
yeah, yeah.
We just need the black van. We hit that lottery. I'm going to buy one of them A team vans so we can travel the country in it.
We pull up at OBJ one in a black 18 van. It's gonna be awesome.
It'd be funny.
Man, that'd be great. You know, um,
Who's BA though?
Lord, I don't know. Well, that'll be a toss up.
Yeah, it almost have to be Matthew just because of the military thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
he'd do it. Yeah, no, he'd say he's Hannibal.
probably.
Yeah,
Well, then Alan would have. I don't know. That would be tough.
I will take the Murdoch role and just run with it.
What was the name of the girl? JJ.
I have no idea.
I can't remember what her name is, but that'd be Alan.
You're going to get a knife emoji here in a minute.
Oh, I know. I don't know if he's watching or not. I got something over the top of where he normally shows me how many people's watching, and I can't see it. I get those a lot from him. A lot.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. And then he started about me not being white, which I'm going, okay. So I just keep telling him I'm cream.
Yeah, eggshell.
Yeah.
Oh man, if people saw our group text, we'd probably be canceled.
Yeah, that would be used as evidence against us, I believe.
That's why we all have to stay friends, because we have all this evidence against each other.
See, here's the thing. My wife, like I said, used to be a reporter in our local state college here. Her and Alan were buddies, and she has pictures of Alan from the late '80s, early '90s. So I have blackmail stuff.
That's good. That's good. And I want copies.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So,
very short, very long hair.
That doesn't surprise me. He probably still wears that around the house.
Well, yeah, Heather probably makes him. Yeah.
I keep waiting for my phone to light up.
Yo, Jake. Yeah,
it's gonna happen. So, what are you working on right now? Normally, when we're doing this, you're working on something.
I'm working on 3 pieces for Chumma with the Spirits.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's one of them is Bigfoot wearing a shark head. Then I've got Bigfoot in a baby shark costume, and then I've got their shark in a Bigfoot head.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Larry, he ran into Ashley.
Okay.
From Ghost Gossip.
Yeah.
I guess she's over doing an investigation over there in paranormal or something, and he ran into him.
Awesome. So. Awesome.
Yeah, and that's another one that's part of our little group, and
yeah.
So,
see her posts every once in a while.
Yeah. She's doing really well.
And we also got the Dancing Toaster podcast. And
I need to get a hold of Nelly. I'd like to have him on my show, and I haven't reached out yet.
You love he's funny, but his latest show about Vlad the Impaler was really good.
I haven't listened to it yet.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
and it was like, wow, he was actually, I mean, he was vicious, but he was a good guy. So
I have to listen to the episode. Everybody's going to have to listen to the episode. Go over and check out the Dancing Toaster podcast. Chris turned me on to it. It's really good.
Have you listened to what sugar?
With what?
It's about sugar. And how, like, hundreds of years ago, refined sugar was worth more than gold. I'm like, wow. Okay.
I must be a few behind then, because I'm trying to remember what the last one I listened to was. Oh, it was about Halloween.
Yeah. This one was right before Halloween.
Well, I must have missed one then.
The Halloween was good, though.
Really good.
I called him and was talking to him about how the Halloween podcast was good. I said, but you missed something. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, well, you got Trunk or Treat. I said, but you didn't go deeper. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, around here, we've got something. It's called The Holy Ghost weenie roast.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
No, and when I first heard about it, I had to look it up and make sure it was real. It's real.
They do it on Halloween?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Catholic Church put that on, or?
No idea. That's when I first heard about it a couple years ago, and I'm like, it's like a car wreck. You don't want to look, but you got to. And I'm like, I really don't want to find out who does this.
I want to find out. I want to go to it.
Yeah, it's probably some good backwoods stuff, but yeah, it'd be interesting.
Right. So you've had episodes on my podcast.
Yes, sir.
But they were part of my first season.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't appear on Spotify.
Wow, really? Okay.
They're only on YouTube.
Okay.
They were on Spotify,
Yeah.
but I was not pleased with the audio on those
Uh-huh.
or the video, because I was back in my TikTok live days.
Oh, I got you.
So I would like for you to come back on and tell some of your paranormal encounters sometime.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the only reason I downloaded TikTok.
And I don't hardly do anything on there anymore. I bet if I logged on right now, I'd have over 100 notifications.
Yeah.
They
Where
tick
you
me off,
at, man? Well, yeah.
and they're so restrictive over there. I'd rather do this. I'd rather, cater to
Oh,
my loyal followers.
sure. Loyal followers.
That's right. I promise it's not a cult. Okay.
Right.
They just like the mullet. I don't
Right.
force them to wear a mullet. They just like looking at it.
Oh, man. Oh, that's an Evermore story. The cult of the mullet. Oh, oh, that's so good.
I had said that I told Alan, I think Waylon could accidentally form a cult. Could you
Yeah.
imagine Waylon as a cult leader? And
Well, now we've got a story. I came up with this story, and Alan liked it. Where Waylon has got to fight demonic chickens in a chicken house. And the only thing I insisted had to be there is the final line of the story has to be they're bad mother cluckers.
Oh my God. For those who are watching, Chris is also part of Nevermore Hollows. We didn't mention that because we were supposed to be talking about Black Sheep Studios.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean,
Black Sheep Studios is part of Nevermore Hollows,
that's
and I'm working on a coloring book through there, and I also have a children's book that we're going to do next year, and then we're trying to get our merchandise up and going so we can have T-shirts that say Redneck Gothic, and then another one that says White Trash Whimsy.
Love it.
So, yeah,
I'll be the first in line.
But I get to do voiceover work there, and which I've been doing cartoon voices all my life. It's just to me, there's times when I'm in here in my studio and I'm working on something and I'm listening to Mystery Science Theater, so I start riffing. And Tammy comes in and goes, "Who are you talking to?" I'm like, "Me," and she goes, "Yeah, all right, yeah, yeah."
What's
So
what's your favorite voice to do on Nevermore Hollows?
oh gosh, I'm not sure. They're all fun. I like doing auto, and the reason why I like doing auto is when I do it, you giggle, and that's what makes me laugh. See that one.
Becca said that's her favorite so far is Otto.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Um, well, I like to do Cosmo. Cosmo's cool. And the let's see, Sabbath Black. I like doing him. We're going to do more with him, and then Kafka Cobain. We're going to do more with him.
Yeah.
But and Waylon, oddly enough, Waylon is just me.
I don't know. Well, he doesn't act like you.
No,
It's just kind of your voice with a
little more country in it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm having such a good time doing stuff. And I tell Alan this all the time. Here we are in the 21st century, and we're doing radio.
Yeah.
We're doing radio dramas, and which is fun. And
I think it's funny that we're doing radio dramas. We've got a radio show on a radio show.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people that and they go, huh? That our fake DJ interviews characters in the town. And I said, then we do fake commercials for our fake businesses. And they're like, what?
Dude, that is so much fun. I love doing those episodes.
Well, I said, here's the cool thing. I said, I'm the assistant. And then as Darwin always comes in and goes, I think we got time for one more caller. And whatever I say, they have to go with. And one of the guys at work's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, and there's times where I can see, blood coming out of their mouth where they're biting their cheek, trying not to laugh. Me, just whatever wild piece of junk I can throw out there, and they got to take it and run with it. And I said, that's what's fun. But I love doing the commercials.
Yeah.
And I want to do. I did an ad for like a T-shirt design for Twang, and my boss at work's like, "What is it?" And I said, "Well, it's like Nevermore Hollow's version of Tang, but different." And she goes, "What do you mean different?" I said, "Well, it's got hot sauce and jet fuel in it." She goes, "What?"
It's what all the astronauts drink.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to get martinis up there, so but I love doing stuff like that, and it's indulges my horror movie stuff and just my weirdness. I've been watching monster movies and stuff as long as I remember, and I love them. And then at the worse they are, the better they are. But there's been a couple that I've got, no, I can't watch this, and they're like bad. they're like not even B movies. They're like D. But
and you probably found it on Tubi.
Oh yeah. Oh, I found all kinds of stuff on Tubi.
Yeah, Becca hates it when I get on a Tubi kick.
Oh man, there's so much. Well, they've got all my Hammer films on there, and I love Hammer horror. I mean, the bright red blood, the paint, the red paint blood, and they're so polite. I love how polite the British are in these horror movies. They're so nice.
Have you ever watched? And we didn't do it last year, and we're gonna have to do it twice this year now.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Santa Claus versus the Devil?
Yes.
That's a Christmas tradition at my house.
Yeah.
Becca,
have you ever watched Humanoids from the Deep?
That's where the light comes out from between their legs, right?
Nope. This has got Doug McClure in it, and anything with Doug McClure in it it's going to be awesome.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
It was in the line, after Jaws came out, they tried to make all these movies that had the same tone, and there was one about the Abominable Snowman, but he was on he was at a ski resort. I can't figure out why people on skis couldn't get away from him. They just couldn't scream. And then this one was kind of in that. They had a better costume designer, but it was pretty much mutated salmon that needed to spawn, and they
Okay.
must spawn with human women. So the word gratuitous, I don't even think that encompasses how all the stuff that was in it. But
Love it.
it's got Doug McClure in it, and man, he is. I love him. He is the best. Um, Now there's another. I guarantee you're not seeing this one. It's called Hysterical.
I
It was a
can't place
spoof.
that one.
It was a spoof movie, and they spoofed Jaws, zombie movies, Poltergeist, The Exorcist, and pretty much everything else they get a hold of, and all the Friday the 13th and Halloween movies.
Hysterical.
Yeah, when the guy who Richard Kiel, who played Jaws in the James Bond movies, he was Captain Howdy, and when he stabbed you, you turned into a zombie, but you looked like him. So you had bushy eyebrows and you wore a turtleneck, and you said, "What difference does it make?"
I gotta write that down because we have to watch that at some point. Just
If you
probably
can
this
find
week.
it streaming somewhere, tell me. But then the only people who could save the town, and the town's name is Hellview, um,
You sure
were
this
the
isn't like a
people.
trauma movie?
No, it was before Trauma. No, yeah, it might have been before Trauma.
Oh
Like
wow.
Julie Newmar was in it. I mean, there's a lot of famous people in this movie. Um,
Wow.
the guy who played the mayor in Jaws was the mayor in this movie and wore the same suit with the little anchors on his jacket. But it's so weird, and out there's a dance number. I mean, it is nuts.
Ah, I gotta watch it. Gotta watch it. How about Troll 2?
Yep,
Love that movie.
yep.
Love it. Some of the worst
Oh
lines,
God,
worst acting, worst
it's
special effects.
horrible.
Freaking phenomenal.
You know, when anybody takes an obscure movie and goes, we need to make a sequel. Yeah, okay,
Well, okay, so the way I understand with that movie is they wanted to call it Goblin,
okay,
and there was another movie that came out that year that had something Goblin in the
yeah,
title. And the Troll movie, they said, okay, we'll call it Troll. Well, there was
yeah,
already a Troll movie,
yeah,
and the director's like, screw it, Troll 2.
yeah.
And the director thought he had made like the best horror movie of all time. And
Well,
he
that's
got
why it's so bad. It's
yeah,
because all these movies, if they take themselves seriously, then that makes it even better.
yeah.
If they know they're making a piece of crap, it's worthless. You
I don't
know.
know. I don't know. I do like the movies where they know that we're making a B movie,
Oh
and
well.
they kind of poke fun at themselves, and they know what they are. I do like those movies too.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But the ones that there's one I've only seen it on Mystery Science Theater, but it's called The Last Shark, and it's like an Italian version of Jaws. Wow. But they shot it in Florida,
Is
but it's
that
all
is that
Italian
the
actors.
guy? Is that the Italian director that like remade all those '80s movies?
I don't know, but the
'Cause-
shark was like made of fiberglass and it couldn't move. And I think they only made like the head, and I mean, and still the shark was the best actor in the movie.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I forget what that guy's name is, but he basically he did the uh what Robo Wars.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And that's basically a rip off of the Predator.
Have you seen the one that's a Filipino movie, Robo something versus There's Robo something Vampire Hunter or something like that, and it's I think they're Filipino vampires that hop.
You sent that to me. I did watch that. Dude, that is
Yeah,
horrible. I loved it.
what it awesome.
Yes, I laughed my ass off.
So
They
much
just hop.
tinfoil. Yeah, so much tinfoil was used for the Robo soldier suit.
That was freaking awesome.
But I
Bad
think,
special effects, bad acting. Well, that one had
oh,
voiceovers, so it was even worse.
but then they threw in scenes, I think, from a completely different movie.
I think I
So
read
there
that
was,
too. Like
you know,
they were using just B-roll from other movies and stuff.
I couldn't figure out why guys in the jungle are wearing toboggans. Yeah. And for those people who don't know, in the South, a wool hat is called a toboggan. I know other places that ain't, but
Yeah.
yeah,
My first wife and I got in that argument. She was on at a toboggan. I was like, that's a sock hat.
yeah,
But a
but
toboggan to
yeah,
me is something you ride down a hill.
yeah. See, we don't get enough snow here to do that. And if we do, then you know, in let's see, 1993, the year before I got married, there was a blizzard here, and I'm talking true blizzard, and people still in our area went like tonight. There's supposed to be snow. I guarantee. I went to the grocery store today just to get a couple things, but I didn't really pay attention. But see, the rule is in especially in where I live, you must get milk and bread. We don't know why, but you get the two things that go bad the fastest, especially if they
Mm-hmm.
don't have any way to refrigerate them. And don't get like cans of soup or something that can last forever. You could eat it cold if you have to. Or the one day a couple years ago they were calling for snow, and I saw a woman just, I mean, she was packing in a bunch of liquor. I mean, she had wine bottles and stuff, and I'm like, well, she knows what she's doing. But
She's staying warm one
yeah,
way or the other.
yeah. So now everybody is terrified that this 100-year storm is going to come. It's going to snow. So and it never does. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but here, like an inch and a half here shuts everything down.
Yeah.
And in '93, it was like there were drifts up to 5 or 6 feet.
Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was pretty massive. And but the funny part was listening to the one radio station that could still broadcast and people calling in for help. And not that that's funny, but the fact that these guys got drunk and it was bitterly cold outside, and one guy thought it would be funny to walk outside and press ham against that sliding glass door, and he got stuck. Well, EMTs couldn't get to him, and so they were trying to tell his buddies how to free him from the glass.
Yeah, you're
And
gonna need a little bit of warm water there, and
yeah, and some guy on a horse decided he saddled up his horse to go check on his neighbors, which was a noble thing, but the horse went like 5 feet and refused.
yeah.
So in this case, that animal was a whole lot smarter than the guy riding him. And but so yeah, it's supposed to snow here tonight, and temperature's supposed to drop. The thing is, like Saturday, it was 75, so I don't think it's really going to do anything, but it might shut schools down. So
No, they're saying they keep upping our totals. Now they're up to like 2 to 4 inches. We'll see if that happens,
yeah,
but that won't shut anything down around here.
no, see, people in my town can't drive anyways. So
Dude,
when the ice,
I know, because when we got to the
yeah,
Tennessee line, you know those 7 words that you're not supposed to say on TV.
yeah, you said all of them in one sentence.
Yeah, right as soon as we crossed from Kentucky to Tennessee, I'm like, what is going on here?
Well, you know, it was it's an interesting place.
I love it down there
Tennessee.
though.
Oh yeah. Well, we got all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah. I mean, you do have
Wonderful
to put
people.
up with Alan, though.
Yeah, but hey, I'm used to it.
You're a bigger man than me.
Hey now, ouch.
I
Pardon.
meant, I didn't mean physically.
I'm just messing with you, man.
I tell you what, we had so much fun when we came down there to Georgia and were able to hang out with you guys. That was a
Oh yeah,
blast.
we had a ball. We had a ball. My wife was nervous beforehand about meeting, and then when she left, she goes, "Wow, that was fun." So
She's gonna have to come
yeah,
to
that's
some of
cool.
these conventions and stuff.
Yeah, now she's my convention partner um, for the comic conventions, and she was kind of relieved when I said, "Me and Alan are going to be doing it." She goes, "Thank God." But she she is a special ed teacher and has been doing it for a very long time. So um, I like to people watch. That's like one of my favorite things because no matter how different we think we all are, we all do the same stupid crap. And, but she will give me the nod of whether these people. Now we're all on the spectrum. I'll just say that. But people who are a little more on the spectrum than most, and so it's fun because I'm learning stuff. But there's a lot of times we met this one guy, and I called him Yard Sale Darth Vader, and whew, man, he had made all his stuff, but he made it out of junk, which is impressive. But when you're wearing a black towel for a cape, and then he goes, "You do comic books?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I do comic books," and I'm like, "Awesome!" But in my head, I'm like, "Oh my god!" So he pulls out. I said, "Well, you need to get your sketchbook and bring it in." I got it, really, and it was like one of those 5 subject notebooks.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm gonna. He's gonna open it up, and I'm gonna get to read his manifesto. That's what I expect. Um, but eventually Tammy's like, you need to quit being so nice. I said, hey, being nice is saving my life. Um,
And it might make you
but
some money.
yeah, yeah,
People remember
um,
you when you're nice, and then like I'm gonna buy something from them.
well, well, I was at another convention, and this very large man kept coming by my table, and I mean, looking at me
Dude, I
like,
look, I was
oh
that
my,
was one convention that I came to, and I did that.
he's way bigger than you. He had arms that was like my legs. And
Wow.
Tammy goes, because I used to be a deputy sheriff. I used to work corrections, and she leaned over and goes, "You think that guy's in jail?" I'm like, I don't recognize him. And he came by my table like 4 or 5 times. He just walked by and just look. So he came by and he just stopped. And I look up at this dude and he goes, "Is that Johnny Quest?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "I love Johnny Quest." And we talked about Johnny Quest for like 30 minutes. He ended up buying a set of my Johnny Quest stuff and like several other prints, and grabbed his son and said, "Come here, look at this. This is when cartoons were good."
We grew up with some good cartoons, I'll tell you that.
Oh, dude, but some of the stuff you ever watched the Star Trek cartoon from Filmation?
I didn't even know there was
It's
one.
yeah, it's on Paramount, I think.
Hmm.
Okay, they went before the movie where they went and searched for God. They went and searched for God on a kid's Saturday morning cartoon, and they found
Okay.
Satan. And yeah, there was a one that was an episode of a planet full of all women, and they controlled all the men, and they drained them of their life force. This
Drained
is
them.
a Saturday morning cartoon.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and they had most of the original cast came back to do voices.
Really?
So
That's
yeah,
unusual.
yeah, it was pretty cool, but in true filmation animation fashion, they did the backgrounds moved, and there was not a whole lot of movement, which
Gotcha.
it's fine. It's because Shatner couldn't overact, but you know, couldn't Shatner it up. So,
How dare you? How dare you? He never did that.
oh, dude, I watched those old. I watched the original series, and they've got them now that are remastered, and they're really good. They toned down the sound effects a little bit, and they actually did a lot of the outside ship stuff. So things that used to be a bright flash and they would react to it, now you get to see what it is.
Oh, wow.
But the animators made it look like the original models and stuff. So it's not, you really can't see a difference if you've never watched the original before. But the first and second season are really good. The third season is when Shatner got involved with the writers, and you can see that Spock only belted out facts and nothing else, and Shatner was the hero of everything, and everybody else was just kind of background noise. And and it's like, oh yeah, everything's cool in the future. And of course, we saw that one movie where they showed Shatner's son, and I was surprised there was only one because
Well, I mean, yeah, he did.
yeah, didn't care if
He
they were
Captain Kirked everything.
they were purple, yellow, blue. He didn't care.
That was a great line in Whoop Ass from Another Planet.
Yes, it was.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna Captain Kirk your mom.
Oh,
That does sound like something Meth Camp would say, though.
yeah. Well, I think Camp could out Kirk, to be honest with you, and be cool. Camp in a Starfleet uniform with the mullet and the cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Telling the herd, "See you tonight."
I'm gonna beam you up.
Oh man.
And this is why our recordings take like an hour to get 20 minutes worth, because this is what we do. We just end up going off on these little side quests.
Yeah, hey, dude, this is my brain. This is how my brain works all the time. Tammy has described it as, she thinks it's like a carousel. I'll start a subject and eventually it's going to come back around, but I think I've described being in my brain as like Scooby Doo all the time.
Going from one door to the next and coming out that door, and
and then all of a sudden there's food, and then so
Oh wow. Well, Chris,
sir,
I have to do a live. It's 9:00 tonight, and I'm going to take a break between lives. So I will be going on the Don't Whistle at Night podcast.
Oh, I like
that one,
man. That's cool.
Yeah,
man.
Don and Darren Yazzie from the Navajo Nation have invited me on, so make sure everybody's going over and watching for that. But Chris, why don't you tell everybody where they can find Black Sheep Studios?
Sure. You can find Black Sheep Studios. I'm on Facebook and I'm also on Instagram. Black Sheep Studios TN, because there are other Black Sheep Studios. One is a hair salon and the other is a fitness thing. So I don't have hair and I'm not fit. So but everything you see is for sale. And I ship. And I'm working on getting my own website, but it's kind of it's one of them things just gonna have to happen. But so I do commissions, and I'm pretty reasonable.
Yeah. So everybody check out Black Sheep Studios and Nevermore Hollows. We got to mention Nevermore Hollows.
Yeah, or Alan's going to send us bad emojis.
Yeah, he's going to do that regardless. But
yeah.
I mean, it is kind of our thing. You know,
Yeah.
we got to kind of mention Nevermore Hollows.
Well, you know,
Alan has
and
nothing to do with it. You and I are the true talent of Nevermore Hollows.
yeah, he just writes the stories. I
Yeah.
mean, gee whiz.
I mean, what's that? That's nothing. Where is he at? I can't believe it. He must not be watching because I have my phone is not lit up once.
Yeah, I've got, let's see. Nope. I figured out I've got messages on mine, but it's not saying none of them are from him. So we'll
Make
get it
sure
later.
we'll share this after it's uploaded so you can hear how bad we were talking about him.
Also, hopefully coming next year, probably later next year, will be Nevermore Hollows Comics. We'll start from first show and go. I've done covers, but I can't wait to do Psycho Juju, and I've got sketches of the Tooth Fairy and all kinds of stuff, and so yeah,
That's going to be
we got a
awesome.
lot going on.
Yeah. So everybody check out BlackSheep Studios. Check out Nevermore Hollows.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget to sign up for the Patreon so you can hear Method Camp.
That's right.
Because you got to pay to hear me.
That's right. Well, you got to pay to hear Darwin too. So
that's what I mean. Darwin Gallows.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Patreon on Nevermore Hollows. That's the only way you hear Darwin Gallows.
Yeah. And we're going to delve into that next week to see if you really are Darwin Gallows.
Yes. I guess he told you about that.
Yeah, I've been practicing Cosmo like all day.
Yeah.
People when I was driving.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna. I forgot that was part of the group text. We were talking about how I don't want to give it away. Not on here.
No,
Okay.
I'm interested in. I'm really jazzed about the story that you wanted to do for Christmas, and I've been thinking about that too. A redneck version of that, and that would be awesome.
I think we should do it.
We're going to have to call in a lot of people because that's a lot of voices. But
maybe Becca will do one.
Yeah,
she don't have to be on camera. Maybe she'll do one.
Yeah. But yeah, I was, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, so now my brain's churning with how would that sound? And I come up with some good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just as long as Junior don't get involved, we'll be all right.
If he starts talking like that, we're done. It'll take us 3 years to finish it. It'll be the next Christmas before it's done.
I just thought he could be one of the ghosts.
Oh, he should be. Yes. Junior should be one of the ghosts. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. We might as well just tell everybody we're going to do Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Redneck version of Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
That Nevermore Hollows.
Yeah, as it's Jake Marley. Yeah, not Jacob, Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going Ebenezer, you going to be visited by 3 spooks? Because you're all in
the ghost of Christmas Pabst.
Yeah, Pabst. Dude, I got to tell you, I showed up dressed as you for a Halloween party, and people went,
"Saw that."
Hell, I'm this guy. Who's that
guy? You sent me that picture I showed back. I was like, he's going to a Halloween party as me. That is freaking hilarious.
Tammy shot a video, but for some reason it just took a picture at the beginning and a picture at the end. I had your voice down and everything, but
man, that's
because
awesome.
at the end of it I said, "Daggone," but
All right. Well, Chris, Thanks for
Yes,
coming
sir.
on Miss Monsters and Mullets Live,
Well,
and
thanks
I will
for
see
having me.
you on Tuesday.
You got it.
All right, man.
See y'all.
And if you've had a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. And shoot me a message on Facebook. You can be either a guest in the live, or I'm scheduling for January now for one-on-one interviews. Until next time, talk to you later.